Assalamualaikum, Vice Chancellor Saab, Dr. Manan Saab, and all respected professors and all my dear students. As you know, my name is Imtiaz Ahmad. I'm an immigration consultant and I teach immigration law at the Academy of Learning in Toronto. Currently, I was traveling, but Dr. Manan Saab told me that we have to have a session with students of Malakand agency. I have so many friends in Malakand and they're all nice people. Okay, so in this session, we will be talking about study, employment, and immigration, as you can see from the title. And it's all about Canada. So you can see from the map, Canada is a big country. It has an area of around, I believe, around 10 million square kilometers. So let me change the slide. Okay. Yeah. So as you can see, statistically, if you say, so in Canada in 2021 there were 621,565 international students. 35% of these students were from China, from India, 17% from China, 3% from Philippines, 2% from Bangladesh and Pakistan, and from Pakistan we could have only 1% of those students. So come to Canada as an international student, you need study permit. Study permit is an authorization that allows you to engage in academic, professional, vocational, or other educational or training opportunities that is more than 6 months in duration at a designated learning institution in Canada, valid for, and study permit is normally valid for the period of study plus 3 months. Okay, so now to come to Canada for any research, any other academic purposes, if the purpose is less than 3 months, you can simply come as a visitor and you can engage in that activity. But if you are coming for more than like any program, any research, any master's program, any undergrad program, any school program that is more than 6 months, you will need study permit. And of course, here I will tell you how to apply for study permit. That can be done online. Canada has a website that is where you have to make a profile. They call it GC key. So you have to make your profile on GC key and then upload the required documents for that. Normally, there are like 3 requirements. You need to have admission in a program of study. And number 2, you need to have, for most of the programs, if you're coming for a post-secondary program, you know, college, university programs in Canada, they call them post-secondary, and post-secondary are always after grade 12, which is FA and FSC in Pakistan, intermediate school education. So once you have completed that, you can apply for a post-secondary program, which is can be a college diploma for 2 years. It can be an undergraduate program like BS or BSc or BA, and you need to have what they call a letter of acceptance, or LOA, what we call like admission letter in Pakistan, and that should be from a DLI, which is designated learning institution. That's very important, because if a private college or a private school well, school is okay, but if a private college reaches out to you and says, well, we are going to offer you admission in our college and you can come, you have to check on the canada.ca website, okay, whether that college is a designated learning institution or not. If that is designated learning institution, there is a list of province-wise, and you can check there and you can find out that this is designated learning institution, and then you can get admission there. The second thing you will need would be the finances. Okay, so either you or your parents should have enough money to support you. If you don't have enough funds, you can apply for scholarships, but normally it's like a difficult to get scholarship from outside of Canada. But still, if you are coming for a research program at the master level or a PhD level, so most of those programs are funded. Undergraduate programs and college diploma programs, you almost never get scholarship for that. Okay, once you are here, then there are different programs that are available, and if you're good in your studies, Canada can offer you those scholarships. The basic problem for our students from Pakistan that I have realized through all these times is the English language. Okay, the IELTS, International English Language Testing System, that you can complete from British Council. That's a big issue for students from Pakistan. Whenever a student reaches out to me and asks me, well, I want to get admission in the college or in the university, and can you help me? I say, well, yes, of course. If you have IELTS, and if you have you or your parents have sufficient money, your parents can support you, so I don't have any issue. But then they say, well, can you arrange for me admission without IELTS? And I say no, because if I'm working with the college or the university, so they have a requirement for international students. And if I'm working as, because immigration consultants, they are kind of working, having a relationship of agent with the colleges. Like, for example, our organization is registered with more than like 500 institutions in Canada and in the US, and they're helping students. But for us, like they want from us that we must give, our students must have IELTS. If you are coming for a master's program or for a PhD research program and you want admission without IELTS, you have to contact the professor of your area of research. You have to explain to them that you have all your education in English, and probably they can give you waiver for the IELTS. But if you're coming through an immigration consultant, so you must have IELTS. Okay, so, and that is normally available for master's program. Undergraduate and college students, they must have IELTS. Okay, without IELTS, don't think of admission if you're coming to a bachelor or to a college diploma. Okay, now for Pakistan, they have a special program which is called SDS. Okay, so you can see here, TRV is temporary resident visa, which is required for everyone in coming to Canada as a student, as a visitor, as a worker. Okay, DLI is college or university that is designated learning institution. The schools in Canada are all DLI. So basically, Canada has students coming from, say, like elementary school to high school to, so high school is still grade 12, and then college and university. So college and university must be a DLI. The schools, just if they are registered with the provincial government, they are considered as designated learning institutions. So if you are sending, like, I don't know, there are all students, but I mean professors, if they want to send their children to school, like grade 9 or grade 10, they can do so. And for that, you don't need to worry about DLI. And then there is no requirement of the IELTS as well, okay? Because normally schools will get international students in the ESL, and they will train them about English by themselves. Okay, for Pakistan, we have a special program which is called SDS, Students Direct Stream. For that, again, as I told you, there are 3 requirements. You must have IELTS 6 in each skill. Okay, so when I say 6 in each skill, I mean you must have 6 in reading, 6 in writing, 6 in listening, and 6 in speaking. Minimum. If you have more, you have better chances of getting admission in good institutions. Okay. The second requirement there for the SDS is you must have a GIC account of $10,000 in a Canadian bank. That's all your money. The account is under your name. The only thing is the Canadian government wants to make sure that you have sufficient amount of money for your expenses when you come to Canada. And you get this money back, like you start getting it, they pay you $1,200, $1,500 every month, okay, and you get it in a period of like 1 year. The third requirement is whenever you get a letter of acceptance from the school, you must have paid the fee for the whole year. Okay, so if your fee for 1 year is $15,000, you must have paid $15,000. Okay, so GIC account, IELTS, and 1 year payment of the fee are the 3 requirements for the students direct stream. And the good thing about SDS is that you get your visa in less than 1 month. Okay, if for any reasons you don't have these requirements, like you don't have, like you have a lesser level of IELTS, you don't have funds for GIC account, or you cannot pay the fee for 1 year, so you can pay for at least like 1 semester, and then you can apply under the regular application for study permit. Okay, for which normally the longer period are longer than than the SDS. Okay, so it can take maybe 2 months, 3 months, or 4 months. Okay, so I'm explaining these things. In the meantime, if you have any questions, definitely you can ask me, and I will be open to questions. But it's better you keep your questions if you can write down, and I can respond to your questions later on. Okay. The next thing is co-op work permit. For Canada, in Canada, we have 2 types of programs at the university and colleges. If you come to a regular program, so that is all academic, you go for studies, it's a 2 years, 3 years, or 4 years program, and you complete it, and that's it, you get your degree. There is another type of program which is related to job market or which is connected to job market, that is called co-op program. So Canadian universities, they have connections with the companies, with the businesses, and they send their students to those organizations for work during their studies. So like normally in a co-op program, the first year is you just go for academics. In the second year, and after that, you go like one semester, you go for work, and then the second semester, you go for studies, and then another semester for work, and then another semester for studies. So in Canada, we have 3 semesters at the college and university. So one semester runs from September to December, which is fall, and then we have another one from January to April, to the end of April, that is winter. And then we have the third one, which is from May to the end of August. Okay, so this way, the students, they never have a break in their studies. They will just go work and they will go for studies. And once they complete their degree, normally they have 1 year or 1 year and 6 months experience in their job. And they have a good market value when they go to the labor market. Okay. Required when joining a program with co-op is required meant for graduate and must be mentioned by the acceptance letter received from the DLI. Cannot be longer than 50% of the study period. So normally the co-op work is like 40% of the study part. Okay, so most of the part is study, but still they get work permit for that. Okay, when it comes to work, of course, these are other requirements for the co-op work permit, like the work must be related to your program of study. Students must have a valid study permit. Intended employment must be related to your academic, professional, or vocational training, and employment must be certified as part of the academic, professional, or vocational training program. And normally, like one semester of the co-op work will give you like 2 academic. It will be giving you like 2 academic subjects. Okay. Now, when it comes to work for students, now, because most of the students and of course their parents, they are worried about, well, you know, it's a lot of money. If I send my child to Canada, will he be able to make some money or to work? Of course, in Canada, students are allowed to work during their studies. If you're taking a full-time program, and you must be taking full-time program as international students, so you are allowed to work 20 hours per week. And normally, as you know, in Canada, wages are paid by hour. So you get paid minimum $15–16 per hour. Okay. So if you are working during your studies, that is enough amount to cover your living expenses and part of your studies. If you are in a program where you have a summer break, which is 4 months, and you can work full-time during your break, so you can make some money for your studies to pay the fee for your semester. And normally that is what the students would do. Okay. You don't need a work permit for working during your studies. You just have your study permit, and you must be a full-time student. And if you're working, if you get a job on your campus, because in Canada, on the campus, we have, food shops, we have libraries, like bookshops, and we have other businesses working on the campus. So if you can get a work with them, you can work full time, and there is no problem. And the good news is, for now, Canada has given an opportunity of working full time for all the students, because during the pandemic, Canada has lost workers because no immigrants were coming. So Canada is in need of workers. That's why they gave opportunity to students to work full-time for all students now. Okay, so they can study full-time, they can work full-time, and if you are working full-time, you can make enough money. I mean, anything from $2,000 to $5,000 a month you can make, depending on your job, like because the wages start, as I told you, starting from minimum $15, $16, and it can go up to $50, $60, or $100. Okay, depending like what are your skills. Okay, and then if you are a research student, so you get paid for that as well. Okay, so if you are working on a master's research or a PhD research, normally your professors will pay you. But remember, that payment normally does not start before you come. So you must be here in Canada and you must be working hard. You must have like a good working relationship with your colleagues, with your professor, and then you have opportunities of making some money. Okay. So as I told you, no work permit is required, only 20 hours during regular academic session, and during full-time you can work during scheduled breaks like winter, summer, reading week, transition period from study to work permit, and you must have maintained full-time status before the break, can work on campus apart from 20 hours off campus. Okay, now remember, to stay in Canada legally, you must continue full-time studies and you must be successful in your program, because if you fail some programs or if you don't go to college and you get busy in work making money, okay, you're gonna lose your status, and that becomes very difficult to restore your status, because Canada does not accept excuses. Okay, Canada is based on all on the rules and regulations. Okay, and you must follow all the rules. Okay, now again, very good thing about study in Canada is after you graduate from a 1-year program or a 3-year program, a 2-year program, you get 1 to 3 years postgraduate work permit. PGWP is postgraduate work permit. So you come to Canada, like for example, after your intermediate or after your bachelor program, you have a 2 years college diploma or a 2 years master's program, and you graduate successfully, you will get a 3 years work permit. So you can legally stay and work in Canada for another 3 years. Okay, so a 2 years study can give you like 5 years of opportunity to work in Canada, and that is open work permit. That is the beauty of postgraduate work permit. You can work for any employer anywhere in Canada, and if you work for 1 year, so you get qualified under Canadian experience class. Okay, for immigration. So that is why I always say coming for studies to Canada is the best opportunity for you if you have a desire for immigration. Okay, and I think immigration to Canada is the best decision in one's life. I don't know about others, but for me, it has been a life-changing experience. Of course, luckily I was successful in my country as well, but I mean, when you come to Canada, it's a land of opportunities, especially for younger people. Of course, me came to Canada at the age of 45, so most of my life I had spent in Pakistan and in Saudi Arabia. I was teaching, but still I have made a good career in Canada. If you come younger, you enter the job market at the earlier stage of life, and sky is the limit. Okay, in Canada, the environment is very encouraging, very accommodating. People respect and appreciate your skills, your qualifications, your hard work is always paid, and you can become you can go to any limits of success in Canada. Okay, now we are talking about immigration. So far it was about studies. I would, at this stage, I would take a few questions if you have for studies. Okay, for questions, you can ask me question in Urdu. You can ask me in Pashto. Pashto kim khabare kolesham, Urdu kim kolesham. For the presentation, English ke zaka rata khalegi che. Always I teach like the way so it's easier for me to go with the flow. Yes, Dr. Sip. If anyone has any questions, so I'm open to that.
Yeah, any question about the study visa from any student? If any has any question about study visa? So
well,
you can.
No problem. I can continue, and then at the end of the session, if they have any questions, I will be open to questions.
So can you talk about the co-op program? If somebody, a student, go to the co-op program, will they get the money? Will they be paid?
Well, yes, of course. If they come for a co-op program, so when the college or the university sends them to work with businesses like construction company, contractor, a factory, they will get paid. Okay, and they will get paid well. Okay, so normally according to their qualifications. Okay.
So you encourage a student to come to the co-op program for 1 year or 2 years. So that way,
of course, yes. I will always encourage them. Okay, but again, the problem is the IELTS, because co-op programs are like very competitive. Okay, so you need to have a good level of IELTS, for co-op programs. Okay, so you need to work on your English before you come to Canada. Okay, and this is always like I tell like people who inquire from me about immigration, I always tell them, Canada is made for younger people. Canada is made for people who have good skills in English and technical skills. So while studying in university in Pakistan, the students are required to focus on their skills. Of course, if they are studying computer, like software engineering, they need to focus on their software development skills. If they are studying mechanical engineering, they need to study on their, like whatever field you are studying in, you need to have your skills, because in Canada, they value your skills. They hire you because of your skills. They don't hire you because you have a master's degree or a PhD. Okay, they will hire you because you have skills. Okay, they so that they can they can benefit from your skills. Okay, so yes, IELTS, and as soon as you can start your process, because the younger you are, the more successful you are in Canada. Okay. Yes, Dr. Saab, do you have any follow-up question for me? Or
no, I don't have.
Okay.
No, you just go.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now, when you come to Canada on immigration, so again, as I told you, this is the best opportunity for people in Canada. When you come, there is a program which is called CEC, Canadian Experience Class. Okay, so for this program of immigration, you need to have IELTS. You need to have your educational credential assessment. Remember, you don't need educational credential assessment for studies, but you definitely need your educational credential assessment for immigration. Okay, and that can be done through different organizations in Canada. One of those is like ICAS, International Credential Assessment Services, and then we have World Education Services. They do your educational credential assessment, and the process normally is like you send your documents through the Higher Education Commission in Pakistan, and then the Canadian organization will give you an equivalency certificate that your bachelor's degree in Pakistan is equal to bachelor's degree in Canada. Okay, that is called ECA, Educational Credential Assessment. And then you need 1 year experience. And as I told you, if you come as a student, you will have that opportunity of getting 1 year experience in Canada, and then you will be able to get immigrated as under Canadian experience class. Okay, and of course, because there are like fewer number of people in Canada as temporary residents, so immigration in this category is less competitive as compared to other immigration programs in the express entry. Okay. Next is employment. So for employment,
Professor Imtiaz, one
yes.
person is saying, what is the procedure for the IELTS exam?
Well, IELTS is conducted by the British Council. They have their offices in different major cities, like in Peshawar. They have a branch. They have a branch in Islamabad, in Lahore, and Karachi. You can do your preparation by yourself. There are so many YouTube videos available to guide you on how to prepare for IELTS, and you can take a course in a very good language institute. Even British Council might be offering some courses, but the key for IELTS is the English. So like you must have very good speaking, listening, reading, and writing skills to get good scores on IELTS. Okay, and that is done like through the British Council. Okay, because that is a like a program run by the UK government. Okay, next I will be talking about employment. No doubt that Canada has numerous employment opportunities for all types of people, for younger people, for older people. Because Canada, as I told you, is a very big country. It's 13 to 14 times bigger than Pakistan area-wise, and the population is like in Pakistan, I think we have more than 200 million people, while in Canada we have only 37 million people. Okay, so Canada has lots of opportunities for work, and because Canadian population is composed of most of the seniors, they had a generation which they called baby boomers, and now all those baby boomers who were born after the Second World War, now they're getting on the verge of retirement. So they have opportunities now, and they will have opportunities in the future. Okay, so for that purpose, Canada is running a TFWP, Temporary Foreign Worker Program. But the problem with that program is, like, if I'm an employer, I have my business in Canada, I want to bring any person, any worker from Pakistan, from India, from anywhere, I will need LMIA, Labor Market Impact Assessment. So what is LMIA? Basically, I have to apply to the Canadian government that I need workers. I have advertised the job for 2 months and I did not get any Canadian worker, so I can bring worker from outside of Canada. Okay, and of course they will need evidence of all the documents, who applied, whether I interviewed. So getting an LMIA is a difficult process. Okay, but still, if there are areas, where, for example, there are not enough workers available, if there is a profession like, technology related professions, like computer engineers, software engineers, IT professionals, even for in some areas, very I will say odd jobs, like for example, cook and chef and maybe agriculture workers. So there is need for those people, and then the employer can get LMIA, and you can come as a foreign worker. Okay. There is another program which is called International Mobility Program. That is LMIA exempt, but that is mostly like for countries where they have a free trade agreement with Canada, and of course Pakistan does not have any free trade agreement with Canada. So but still this program is mostly like for business people. So if you want to start a business in Canada and you have sufficient money, you come over here, you might be given LMIA and you can start your business. Once you have established your business, you can apply for permanent residence in Canada. Okay. Other ways of immigration are express entry. So express entry is a 3-step process. You create your profile on the Canada.ca website. You get into the pool. Now, to get into the pool, you need to have 2 things. Number 1, again, IELTS and educational credential assessment. Okay. So you need at least IELTS 6 in each skill. The difference is for studies, you need IELTS academic if you are coming for studies. If you are coming for immigration, you need IELTS general. Okay. So general is normally comparatively, I will say, easier than academic, but there is not much difference. It's almost the same. So once you have your IELTS general 6 in each skill, and you have your educational credential assessment, you apply under the express entry, you get into the pool, and then every 2 weeks they issues invitation to apply to the top candidates. So again, to come under the express entry, you need to be on the top of the pool. Okay, and to be on the top of the pool, you need to have extra qualifications, like for example, your Canadian qualification, your Canadian experience, your relationship in Canada, all those things count for your express entry, and the higher the points, you have better chances to be, to get your ITA. Then you apply for permanent residence, and if you stay in Canada for 3 years, you can become a citizen. Okay. There are so many Canadian provincial nominee programs. Okay, so Canada has 13 provinces, and then you can they have their own immigration programs, but most of these programs are job based. So if you get a job in that province, some of those provinces, the employers, they will be having LMIAs, or there are some programs which are LMIA exempt. For example, in the Atlantic provinces like Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, those provinces, just if you get a job with a designated employer, you can apply for permanent residence, and you get provincial nomination, and you get your 600 points, and you get selected. Okay. 2 popular federal programs are the Federal Skilled Worker Program. Okay. For which, as I said, this is for people like professional people, for example, engineers, doctors, dentists, economists, university professors. They come under the Federal Skilled Worker Program. Then we have the Federal Skilled Trade Program, which is for technical hands, like electricians, plumbers, I will say machine operators, excavators, construction workers, factory workers, who are operating on CNC and other machines. Okay, so that is called Federal Skilled Trades Program. And you need to have like a qualification in trades, and you need to have a 2 years experience in that, and you need to have IELTS. Remember, for each program of immigration in Canada, you need to have IELTS. Okay, normally for the Federal Skilled Worker Program, you need IELTS 6 minimum in each skill. For Federal Skilled Trade Program, you need IELTS 5 in each skill. Okay, so IELTS and educational credential assessment is mandatory for each immigration program. So, like for example, if you want me to process your application for immigration and you are just calling me and asking me questions, that's useless unless you have your IELTS and you have your educational credential assessment. Okay, and as I told you, direct immigration from Pakistan, from any other country, is difficult. The best way is to come as a student or to try to find a job in Canada, and then you have better opportunities for immigration. Okay. Now, just one thing for students who are in PhD programs, they have a postdoctorate program, so they can contact professors in their area of research, and they can, if they get hired as a postdoctorate researcher, that is counted as work, and you can come as a worker, and you have the opportunity for immigration. I know so many of Pakistani PhD scholars who came to Canada as PhD scholars, and then they got immigrated based on their skill in research and based on their expertise in their area of research. Okay. So
Professor Imtiaz, can you a little bit talk about the trade skill?
Yeah, well, that is
what is trade?
What are these Federal Skilled Trades Program?
No, but my question is, can these trades be taught in the university level? Is it important?
No, normally those are the trades that are taught at the technical college level. Okay, and vocational colleges. So those are the skilled trades. And the level of English for those is comparatively lesser than the Federal Skilled Workers, okay, because they need to know English related to their area of work. And another good thing about that is, like, you can convert your experience in trades in Pakistan to the Canadian experience, okay. Those are provincially regulated, and you can apply to the province to evaluate your experience in Pakistan, and then you can become eligible under the Federal Skilled Trades Program. But as I said, you need two things. Number one, you need to have experience in your skilled trade, and you need to have some kind of qualification in your skilled trade. Normally, they say the requirement is only experience, but you need to have qualifications because they authenticate your experience. Like for example, if you say I'm a mechanic, so I mean, in Canada it is not possible to be a mechanic without going to college. Now it is possible in Pakistan, I know, but you need to be a certified mechanic. The problem with the system in Pakistan is we don't have documentation, okay, and the Canadian immigration system is based on documentation. So whatever you say They just don't believe on hollow words. Okay, they believe on evidence. So if you say, I know like so many business people, they contact me from Pakistan and they say, well, we want to come and establish our business in Pakistan, and money is no problem for me. Okay, because in Pakistan we don't have a tax culture. So people normally, they are not registered. They have a business of millions of rupees, and I will say hundreds and thousands of dollars. Okay, but their business is not registered, so that is not acceptable. You must be registered, and you must have documentary evidence of whatever you are presenting to the Canadian government. Yes, everyone, thank you for being here. I'm not going away, but this is the end of my presentation. Normally, I start my session with questions, but because Dr. Manan Saab told me that there must be a presentation, so I said, okay, no problem, I can present. Yeah, so we had 1 hour. We still have a few minutes left. So if you have any questions, I will be open to your